Hi guys, Jess here with Angel's Grove. So today I'm going to show you how to remove offsets from your succulents. So I have a couple of succulents here that have all produced little baby succulents on their own. They've just shot them out from the roots. Here you can see a Haworthia. There's a lot of babies around the base of this one. So I'm going to be removing one of those, and then, ooh, almost lost it. And then here I have a couple cubic frosts, and I have another one here with a lot of offsets. And then I also have an Echeveria Allegra, which is one of my favorite ones, but hopefully you can see under his leaves here, there's also a little baby there. So succulent offsets are great because you don't have to wait for leaf propagation. They usually grow a lot faster than they would from a leaf. And so I like propagation this way, but you can't really make your succulent grow them, whereas leaf propagation, there's a higher chance of you getting a baby right away. So the best way that you can get your succulents to produce offspring, I guess, of their own, is to make sure your succulents are really healthy, really happy, they get a lot of light, they get some water, and just making sure they're growing and being taken care of is really your best way at making sure that they're going to produce. Because if you have a nice healthy succulent, then they're going to feel that they have enough energy to push more offspring out on their own. So one thing I wanted to show you here is that this method works. I bought this cubic frost last year, I guess. He's huge. He was even bigger when I bought him. He was in a 5-gallon bucket, and I was obsessed. He ended up getting a bug that I was not able to identify, but I cut him off like I did in fixing the lengthy succulent video that I can share below. And then I took a couple of his offsets that he was producing, and this is actually one of those before I had cut him off from his old stem. And so you can see that this one is actually producing babies of his own now, and so it was really successful. It worked really great. So I just wanted to show you guys my method for that. So I might be taking a cutting from these ones. They're not very big yet, so we'll see. But we'll start with this one. I feel like a lot of people have these in their house. Haworthias are great if you don't have a ton of light. However, if you do want a lot of offsets to be created, I would say to provide light for them, put them in a sunny spot, because that's when they're going to be the happiest and they'll make more offshoots for you. So this here was the mother plant, and then this here is an offset of that along with all of these little ones. So ones like this small, these two up here, I'm gonna leave on. I'm gonna wait for those to grow bigger, but this one is huge. It's great. It's gonna have a nice chance of surviving on its own. And so honestly, the only tools that you really need for this is a pocket knife, or just a sharp knife that you have. I just have this little guy. He works great for everything that I need him to do in here. So first, identify which leaves belong to each rose head of its own. And so you just kind of go through and separate them with your fingers, and then kind of pull them apart a little bit, just to make sure that you are cutting the right succulent and not getting part of the parent. However, if you get a ding here and there, don't worry about it too much. They're really resilient. They will come back from almost everything. So I wouldn't worry if you make a mistake here and there. But yeah, so I'm essentially just going to pull them apart as much as I can, and then I'm going to take my knife, and this is going to sound very easy and almost wrong, but I'm going to dig in there. I'm not going to go with any sort of mechanism. I'm going to try really hard not to cut the other plants, as there are, as you can see, there's rosettes on both sides of where I would like to cut, but I'm going to try to cut as close in there as I can. Hopefully I'll get some roots, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. So I just went in like this to try to make nice little incision. There's not a lot of technical skills to this. You're just cutting it off, and they will be happy just as such. So you can wiggle them around a little bit, try to twist, you know, whatever will work to get them separated. And since I am trying to keep a couple of the roots, this might be hard to get out, but I'll show you once I do. Okay, so yeah, I got him. So before I make a mess everywhere, I'll just show you what I have. So I got him all loose. I'm hoping you can maybe see some of the roots. I think he's growing one on his own right there, but a lot of the roots are connected in there. So I'll pull him out and then show you what he looks like on his own, hopefully. Ooh, a lot of the dirt is staying, which is great. Okay, there. So then with this one, after I got him removed, I'm just gonna press the soil back into place a little bit. I'm not going to water him for at least another 3 days. I want to make sure that that cut that I gave him is going to callus over and he's not going to be susceptible to root rot. I really want to make sure that he has the best chance at surviving. So he'll be fine without water for a while, but in a couple days I'll water him again. And then this is, actually it was really clean, but this is the baby that I was able to cut off. And so here's all the roots. This is really great. If none of those came out, do not worry about it. They will make their own. But it just gives them an added bonus so they can just grow faster and they don't have to focus on growing those roots first. So I really tried to get a couple of those roots with them. But yeah, so I think he turned out really well. And you can see here is where I made the cut. It doesn't look too bad. These type of succulents are really hardy. They're not going to be as sensitive, but I will wait a couple days before I water him. I might plant him up sooner, but I will wait for a while before then. And then he should be growing his own babies here shortly. So that's that type of succulent. So then we'll do this Echeveria. I love Echeverias. I'm very obsessed with them, especially this Allegra, because I do not mess with him. He stays where he is. I water him and that's it. I do not touch him. So I will be ruining my Allegra for this video, but I want that baby. So I love him just because I have no fingerprints anywhere. He looks so gorgeous. I'll just do a close-up of that one really quick before I destroy him. No, he'll grow new leaves and look pretty again shortly. So same thing kind of here is I want to pull up these leaves as much as I can without breaking them so that I can have access to as far down and as close to the parent stem as I can get for this baby. So I'm going to try to just cut through the dirt, which, don't shame me, I know that's really bad for my knife, but that's the best way to get a nice cutting for a baby, so I'm gonna do it. But if you pull off a couple leaves to make it easier, that's fine. You can use them to propagate, which I'll post that video down below as well on how to propagate from leaves, but this guy shouldn't be too bad. So hopefully you can see that he just goes right into the soil. He's not directly connected to the plant from what I can see. And so I'm just going to be putting my knife in here and cutting down. So I'll just do that really quickly. There we go. There. Okay. Now I have him. So I'm just going to pull him out. I like to grab the underside of their leaves as much as I can just because I don't like fingerprints on my succulents. Picky, but makes them prettier. So there we go. And then I just have a Mary Kay makeup brush. It's just something soft, but I like to use that to kind of clean off my succulents if they're really dirty. This is great if you get succulents in the mail because a lot of times they have dirt everywhere. But yeah, so this guy isn't the cleanest cutting, but he'll do. He's a little crooked, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it from that. But isn't he cute? I like him. Picture fell down, so there's gonna be a lot of bright light, but hopefully that's okay. So here we go. So I'm just gonna leave him as well to callus over for a couple days. in some indirect light. And then this guy barely looks like he was touched. He will be perfectly fine. I will also, I'll put him back on his shelf where he'd get a lot of light, but I'm not going to water him for a couple of days. And he will heal up nicely and hopefully make another one. Okay, so with that aside, I don't know if I'm going to take from these guys. They're pretty small still. So I changed my mind. I'm going to be taking a cutting off of this cubic frost. This guy has so many babies. Like, look how many there are in there. So I'm going to choose the biggest one and take him off so that the rest of them have a little bit more room to grow. Okay, now he should come out. Perfect. Okay, so he does have a couple of roots, which is kind of rare for offsets for fleshy succulents like the cubic frost and the echeverias. For stuff like that, rarely do they have roots of their own unless they're getting older. So that's a good sign. That means he's going to be a lot more successful and be able to grow a lot quicker. But here is him. And then maybe you can see those roots that came with him. Really small, really cute, but yeah. So here I will show you the 3 cuttings we took today. Those little offsets, they're really adorable. They'll grow perfect on their own. This is also how you make cuttings off of other succulents, if you hear that. That you just need a couple cuttings. If they have offsets, great. Otherwise, you can just cut them off at the stem and they'll do perfect as well. So all of these I'm just going to be putting probably on my shelf here underneath my bigger plants so that they're kind of protected by the leaves of those from the grow lights. And then the rest of the parent plants will just go back to where they were set up before. And then I'll water them or replant these guys, I guess, in a couple days. Hi, so it's actually been a couple days since I cut these off of their parent plant. These are the baby offsets that I made in the last video, or some of them are. As you can see, this guy has solidified a little bit, calloused over. And I've just been letting him sit here on my grow shelf. This is my new planter. I bought it from Walmart for like $5, and it's going to be perfect for all these little babies. As you can see, I have a couple here propagating. I need to fill these ones out. These are the Lilacina that are starting to go. But if you wanted to see how to propagate those and make these succulents from leaves, check out our other video that I'll post below. These are the ones that I've already planted up. I think these aren't too deep, yeah. So this is what I cut off of one of the mother plants. He's actually not too big, but I got a little bit of a root with him, and I'm literally just wiggling him into the dirt, and then I kind of just press it down around just to make sure he's not going anywhere. But I did that with all of these here. I think I have about 10 of this kind and then 3 of this kind. But these are all the cuttings I made. I showed you this one, and he's also, you know, gotten a little root. And so, honestly, all you do is you just stick them in. It's really easy. Ooh, oops. And I just water these guys at this same time that I will be watering the rest of my succulents. And so that'll be probably in about 4 days. They'll survive just fine. But I'll probably fill up this tray to try to avoid getting water on the leaves, because I think this system's going to be really nice for that. But here's another cutting over here of that cubic frost. And here's I think it's Graptopatelum ruspi. I think that's how you say that one. But I just cut him off and plopped him in there as well. So yeah, If you guys enjoyed this video, like us, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on other ones. And thanks for joining. Bye.